So I've been playing Warcraft for a really long time, and I've been almost completely blind my entire life. As a result, I've had some pretty embarrassing experiences in life and in Warcraft. So I thought it'd be wrong for me to keep these ridiculous stories to myself. Why not share them with the world? And for the record, I'm not talking about those everyday stupid things I do, like randomly dismounting, falling off ledges, the fact that I still get lost in Orgrimmar. I'm not talking about any of that. These are on a whole new level of stupidity and embarrassment. So here we have it, my top 5 most embarrassing moments in Warcraft. So being visually impaired, you can imagine that inventory management can be extremely challenging for me, even with the use of mods. Well, back in the day, we used to have these dailies. There was one for cooking and one for fishing. And the fishing one, you had a chance of winning a fisherman's hat, which I finally got. And since I used it pretty regularly, I just kept it in my bags. Well, when it comes to inventory management, I'm what you call a neat freak. I sell everything I don't need. I sell gear, I sell junk, all the crap you don't need. One day, I go to look for my fisherman's hat and I can't find it anywhere. So I figured I must have sold it. So I sent the GM a ticket. They were pretty cool about it. They even role-played it for me. They're like, "We found your fisherman's hat in the Twisted Nether. Here you go." And I'm like, "Thanks, cool deal." Well, the next day I log in, I look for my fisherman's hat, and it's gone again. Apparently I had sold it again, and I had to send in a ticket again. And the GMs were pretty cool about it again, and they role-played it again. And then the guy was kind of like, "Yeah, could you maybe not do that again?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, sorry. My bad." It was pretty embarrassing. One of the most memorable encounters in ICC is probably Loot Ship. Everybody loves that fight. Well, at one point in time, if you're DPS, you're going to use your jetpack to hop over to the other side, kill something, and hop back. Well, I usually did pretty good, but this one time, I didn't get my jetpack off quickly enough, and I fell over the side. And to add insult to injury, right when I fell off, I popped wings. And everybody saw in the raid, and everybody laughed, and the entire raid stopped and laughed for like ever, and I still get made fun of for it to this day. So back in Wrath during patch 3.3, which is notorious for giving us one of the longest downtimes in Warcraft history, I figured it'd be a good time for me to finally sink my teeth into the Netherwing questline. So I hopped on down the Shadowmoon Valley and got started. Well, one of the problems I was having is that I could not see the Netherwing eggs to save my life. I was down there all by myself and I knew they had to be around there somewhere, and I could just not find them. Well, luckily for me, I had a really cool friend, Aludra the Mage, who also needed to do the Netherwing questline. So she'd go down there with me, and she was kind of like my seeing eye mage. She'd help me find the eggs and help me get through the questline a lot quicker. And how did I thank her, you ask? Well, one day we went down there to do the dailies, and I had finally gotten a hold of that 2-person mount, the rocket. So she hopped on the back of the rocket, and we flew down there to the Netherwing area. And if you've done Netherwing questline, you know that when you get there, you transform into an orc, and your mount transforms into a drake. So you can imagine, we fly over, and I transform into a drake, and she falls to her death. Yeah, good times. So there's this achievement in the game called Hail to the Chef, which will give you the chef title, and I had been working on it for quite a while. I had gotten every achievement except for one. The one was Captain Rumsey's Lager, where you have to craft Captain Rumsey's Lager, so you need the recipe. So I did those cooking and fishing dailies, the same ones I alluded to earlier, and the recipe just wasn't dropping. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and months turned into years, and the recipe just was not dropping. By now, we were well into Pandaria, and I was hanging out with my friends, and someone just asked me, "Dude, that's some pretty bad luck. Why don't you check your recipe list and see if you already have it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, right. There's no way. I'm not that stupid." So I check. Guess what? I already had the recipe. To this day, I don't know when I got it, but it turns out I was doing those quests for years looking for it, and I already had it. I feel pretty stupid. It was well into my Warcraft career, and I decided that it was finally time to try tanking. And I wanted to be a bear tank, so I leveled up my druid, built a set of tank gear, bought dual spec for tanking, got a group of friends together, and went into a dungeon. Well, we get started, and it's going pretty rough. I mean, I was dropping aggro like a hot rock. I was so squishy the healer couldn't keep me up, and about halfway through the dungeon, I was feeling about as useless as a chocolate teapot. I had the gear, I had the rotation down, but I didn't know what to do. So I checked my talent tree. This was back during the days of talent points. To my immediate embarrassment, I realized I hadn't put any talent points in, so I wasn't even spec'd to bear tank. So I had tanked half a dungeon without spending any talent points. And to this day, even though talent points are a thing of the past, whenever I screw up in game, someone always has to ask me, "Did you remember to spend your talent points?" Shut up. So there you go. Turns out I'm a pretty big screw up. But I'm sure a lot of you have stories of your own, so feel free to share them in the comments below. And if you like this video, let me know by clicking that like button. And thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. This is Kephas. Until next time.